I know it's cliche to want to be a life coach. I know the whole thing can be a little overrated, but I do it because when I had nothing, when I had no one, I had this shit. When I was 20 years old, finally got kicked out of my toxic home for the last time and moved out on my own, this kind of material was my saving grace. Okay, and keep in mind, this was all after having just dealt with our first home being foreclosed on. This was back in what, around like 2009. Okay, and it was my family's first house ever. Before that, we had grown up in apartments my whole life, and we only had that house for 3 years before we lost it. Then we were homeless for a few months, right? We were living in my mom's cousin's foreclosed house. They ditched the house, they booked it to Arizona, and they said, you know what, y'all don't got nowhere to go. I mean, it ain't much, but you can stay in our empty house. The bank could have came any day and evicted us. And let me tell you, living every day with that subtle anxiety for months on end, I'll tell you something, it did things to all of us. It changed all of us. It definitely changed my parents. Then the bank came, finally, right, and booted us out. But luckily, my parents were already in the process of renting out a place at that point. So we finally moved out, and shortly after that, as soon as it seems like we're stabilizing, as soon as it seems like things are looking up, as I explained in the book, my mom decided I was a drug addict. Now, for the record, I didn't do drugs at that time, but she thought I did. So she practically kidnapped me and sent me to a rehab facility in Mexico on an illegal conservatorship. No warning, no contact with the outside world, no end date. And yeah, that fucked me up. So much so that, now, check this out, I didn't do drugs before, but when I got back, lo and behold, I began to roll ecstasy, pop LSD, do cocaine on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, you want to know something? I did so much ecstasy that I developed a fucking speech impediment. And it still comes out from time to time, especially when I'm really tired or really stressed out, where words get stuck in my brain, right? I can't get them out. But back then, I couldn't speak an entire sentence without getting a word or two stuck. Then, because I was making so many great decisions, then I overdosed on bath salts. Then, because of that, going to the hospital, almost dying, my heart rate going 200 beats per minute, they had to give me 3 pumps of Ativan. It was a crazy situation. After that, I got shingles, which, let me tell you this, shingles sucks ass. You've never felt nerve pain like that before, okay? I'm telling you right now. So while I'm at home recovering, now I'm not even allowed to walk around the block for a month because my heart rate's not allowed to get over 120 or whatever the doctor told me. My mom and stepdad finally separate, right? The divorce began. And let me tell you this, it was nasty. It was a bad breakup. And it was awesome when they partially blamed me for a lot of it. So yeah, awesome, right? That was cool. Then, after all that, my mom kicks me out for the last time. Okay, so, and it was the last time because I made it the last time. So, barely recovering from the shingles, barely able to jog again, I hit up my cousin and asked for a job at his place. Okay, so I sleep on his floor for about 2 weeks while I'm interviewing and getting my start date, offer letter, and all that. And once I get my first check, I move into some shitty basement across the city in the Logan Heights, right, in San Diego. So no lights, no kitchen, but hey, it was my spot for 2 months, and I made it work. I stayed and stacked my money up, and as soon as I got a little bit of money, I hopped on Craigslist and started looking for a room to rent. I finally find this room, and get this, it's in my old neighborhood. It's in North Park, San Diego. It's actually 2 blocks from where I grew up, so I was really excited for that. And I didn't know it then, but the rest of my life was about to begin. And when I moved into that room in North Park, it was like I finally had what I've been needing. A blank slate, a chance to start over. I didn't have anybody at this point. All I had was a job and this room. And from that, I built what I have now, the amazing career I have now, the beautiful family I have now, the outlook and mentality that I have now. All of it came from that 20-year-old punk-ass kid with nothing but an old Buick, a black laundry basket full of clothes, a blanket and a pillow, and the internet and a cell phone. So when I was alone in that room every night, without a mentor, without a role model, without a father to call on, all I had were these personal development videos. All I had were these self-help books, and I read the shit out of them. I saved my money to take life courses. I dove deep into myself, and I began to chisel away at all the mental and emotional blocks that I had, bit by bit. If it wasn't for someone that had triumphed over their old self at one point, if it wasn't for them writing down or showcasing their experiences online, I would have never been exposed to it. I would have never been exposed to these beautiful stories of people, not just overcoming their past and fears, but using them as fuel for the future. Without them sharing their story, without them sharing their methods, I don't know where I'd be right now. I don't know. Without the frame of reference these speakers, coaches, and leaders gave to me, I don't know where I'd be. And that's why I do this, because now, 12 years later, I finally have got something to share. I finally have enough experience, enough trial, enough error, enough self-analysis, enough results to share with someone who might be struggling with moving forward. To help someone who, like me 12 years ago, didn't know which direction to take. I feel it's my duty to put myself out there, to put myself and my experience out there. It is. Now, if this shit doesn't pop off, then it doesn't pop off, but I'm not here for things to pop off. I know that as long as I put myself out there, put my message out there, my methods out there, someone's going to run into it. Someone's going to apply everything that I'm teaching, and someone's going to think to themselves, this is exactly what I fucking needed right now. Hell yeah. I'm glad I ran into this guy. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why I make these videos. It's why I'm launching the courses. To be someone's solution someday, as many authors and speakers were my solution 12 plus years ago. Right? So, gratitude is what drives me. I live in gratitude, and it's gratitude that gives me the stamina to excel in my career, raise my family, nurture my marriage, work the side hustle, and create this content. So let's get moving, baby, because we got a lot to build, and it ain't going to build itself.